Marcello Leone grew up in the family business, and through a sudden and unexpected change in family dynamics, found himself out of a job in his early 40s. Today, he is the CEO of two successful and high-profile Canadian companies. He's here today to tell us all about his forced conversion to entrepreneurship. You kind of were an entrepreneur to start with, though, Marcello.
I would say that, yeah. I was involved in the family business ever since I was 13, and lasted till I was about 42. And yeah, so it was a family of entrepreneurship.
But it's different when you're basically working for your dad, right?
You're working for the family business, so it is a little different. There's always positives to it, and there's always challenges throughout the process. And you know, when I hit 42, my wife and I really wanted to look at what did the next 20 years look like. And so we really focused on what was the white space going to look like. And so innovative wellness really showed up for us. And it was time for us to create something legacy lasting for our family, for community, for Canada. And we really focused on getting involved with a couple of products. And so that's really been our focus for the last 7-8 years now.
People in Vancouver would know you from your original business, Leone's. Tell us about that.
Well, it was Leone's was a luxury, high-end department store, specialty store. We were the first importers of Italian fashions into Canada about 43 years ago.
Wow.
We built a nice specialty store business to the point where in a number of magazine editions throughout North America, like Uomo Vogue, L'Uomo magazine, we were always in the top 10 as the top 10 recognized specialty retailers. So it was always a very wonderful compliment to be amongst the Saks Fifth Avenues of the world, the Maxfields of the world, etc. So yeah, no, it was a good business. It was a nice legacy-lasting family business.
So you were out at age 42 and blank canvas. So what happened?
Just blank canvas, like blank canvas behind us. Yeah, it was a life changer. So it just it kind of made me realize that nothing is forever in life and everything is possible. And so it kind of put my wife and I in a situation to look at what the next 30, 40 years would look like for us. And it was a challenging time, and but it was, in hindsight, it was a blessing also. So it was, we continue the journey. We're 7-8 years into the journey, and it was probably the best thing we ever did. So,
but I'm going to guess that you probably learned more in the past 7 years than you did in the previous 42.
That's a good question. I've been asked that a few times. I've learned in the last 7-8 years definitely different things than when I was in the family business since I was 13 years old. Without that experience that I had, it wouldn't make you appreciate the last 7-8 years that that I've experienced. But definitely, you learn very quickly as an entrepreneur if you're gonna make it work. Fundraising, leadership, building a culture, building a DNA of a brand, being able to set up the business that you have, scale. There are so many things that you learn today that I've experienced versus being in the family business when, maybe your father or other people in the family were responsible for different things. When you're out and you're starting from scratch, you learn very quickly. So yeah, the learning curve is, you never stop learning. No,
it's interesting that you've ended up in two spaces that are probably the most competitive. I mean, they're huge marketplaces. But if you think of the water industry or the beverage industry and the, fashion apparel industry, these are two. You mentioned brands. I mean, you're up against Coke, Pepsi, and Nike and Adidas.
Sure.
Why?
I guess I got lucky to pick that space. Yet, I think from the perspective of innovation. If you innovate, you're okay. If your objective is to build companies that have no innovation, I don't know how you would compete today. For instance, with respect to your universe, RYU.com, if we did not create urban athletic apparel, which created a niche for us to be able to exist outside of 5 of the other iconic brands in the space that I mentioned earlier, and to be able to own over 22 intellectual properties and patents on our products, it would have been very difficult to compete. On the beverage business, you made a great statement. It's the Coca-Colas of the world. It's really big corporations that exist today. Again, if you can't innovate, I wouldn't even have gone in the space. But being innovative and creating the world's first plant-based beverage, it allowed us to have our space in the beverage industry. So I think the key is, if you're not innovating, it's going to be very hard to be able to be in the white space or lead in the white space.
You use that term, the white space. I'm not sure I know what you mean by that.
The white space is when you're looking at, what does the next 10 years look like? It's almost a clean white space. It's where innovators, entrepreneurs start to look at, what's the next 10 years going to be like, or the next 20 years? Are we going to continue to drink sugar-based products? Are we going to continue to eat deep fried foods? Are we going to not go and exercise? 30 years ago, there were much fewer gyms and athletic inclined industries, businesses, and people that actually wanted to just get out on a bike and go for a walk. Today, it's all about health. And so when we look at the white space in the next 20 years, we believe that healthy living is the new luxury. And therefore, if I was to be an entrepreneur and a betting man, I want to make sure that I'm in the space that the majority of the people are going to be going towards.
It's great to have you on Biz 101, Marcello, and I want to
Thank you.
Congratulate you on building not 1, but 2 successful companies at the same time. Thanks for being on the show, Marcello.
Thank you. Thank you, Randy.